Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get pre-orders of all the upcoming Force of Will sets, as well as releases of previous sets after they come out, as well as fowlibrary.com, a wonderful resource for deck lists, article discussions, and more. Check them out at fowlibrary.com, as well as these amazing patrons. Special thanks to guest lecturer member Vite Ramen. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Okay.
All right, settle down, rulers.
Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a couple of long weeks of Force of Will and Jeremy taking a vacation and getting a stomach bug and being sick on said vacation to Office Hours, your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast featuring myself, GMO73, and I am joined by Mike Rance because Paul's internet is still broken.
Poor Paul. Oh my god.
He'll be back eventually. We're glad to have you here to talk about spoilers. We got a lot to get through tonight, so we're going to be kind of moving at a fast clip. But as we get excited and talking about all these cards, we'd love to see you guys in the chat getting active and spamming those emotes. And to consider, again, clicking that subscribe button and join button down below so you can support the channel and get access to those wonderful emotes. And be sure to get those pre-orders in at Odyssey Games. If you haven't already done so, what are you doing? Odyssey Games has pre-orders, pre-release kits, boxes, cases, structure decks. Get those pre-orders in at Odyssey Games with the link down below right away so that you can have your product available for release day. Even with the delay in product, Force of Will is going, or Odyssey Games is going to have you covered. So, Mike, you ready? We got a lot of spoilers to get through, buddy.
I can summarize all these in 2 words or less.
Great.
Bad or good. Anyway, let's go.
I mean, yeah, that's most of the time. But anyway, let's talk about this first one. We got Magic Stone Dance of Chaos. 1 red. Put the top 3 cards of your Magic Stone deck into the field. Rested, they gain at the next end of turn. Put this card on the bottom of its Magic Stone deck. And then Force Resonance Chaos, meaning if your ruler is Gnarly, you can banish any number of Magic Stones, destroy all J/Resonators with total cost equal to the number of Magic Stones banished this way. Keep in mind that is all, which means it hits both sides of the field. Keep that in mind. That's super important. This card is like so cool in New Frontiers and in the Wanderer format because we have
I was literally about to talk about Wanderer.
Yeah, we have resonance. Resonance ramp. This is great.
I'm gonna play Abdul. I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna get 3 Darkness Stones. My opponent discards 3 cards, and I'm just gonna have a little bit of a good time.
Yeah,
honestly.
This card is great. It's such a cool they've really done a
especially
really good
because on turn 4 you can play the Abdul with 3 mana, tap for your stone, then do that.
The fact that we're getting this again, we've seen this pattern, right? We saw it with Seal, we saw it with Null. Now we're seeing it with Resonance. This we're taking an old mechanic that was just text slapped on some cards, and we're saying, what if we actually flesh that out to be functional as an archetype? And this is exactly the kind of card that Resonance decks would have loved, right? The real only Stone Cycle card that Resonance decks back in the day really used was Fiery Fox.
Firefox Plus, this is kind of sick, not gonna lie.
Yeah, we got some really cool tools for Wanderer and in New Frontiers. This is dope. And then you imagine if you're also playing the Isis, suddenly this is if you're hitting Firestones, those are going to trigger Isis, and you're going to turn this into a ramp spell to keep your momentum going, and you do all kinds of crazy, and then you can banish them to draw cards. This is well deserving of a super rare. Very cool. I will say, hands down across the board, this is the most excited I've been about playing red ever in Force of Will's history.
Jeremy's a Darkness shill.
I am a Darkness shill, hands down, and I am excited about red. This is very cool.
Yeah, I really like the fact that this card just kind of it makes me really wish that I remember there's one artifact in Magic that makes things that come into play rested come in recovered instead. Imagine if we had that with this. How hilarious that would be.
Gross.
But it's a combo, and I feel like it's very much in line with Force of Will to have 2 card combos that can it's a 2-cost card, and you play this for 1 red. So it's you spend 3 mana to get 3 mana. It's okay, sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Something along those lines would be cool. But either way, the way the card's designed now, I don't really know how it's going to fit into New Frontiers right now. Until we see, the rest of the spoilers and how it functions in practice. All I know is that on paper, this thing, I'm just gonna spam the hell out of this thing in Wanderer, and I'm gonna have a great time doing it.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the silliness that you can use this card with Gruce Ballesta if you hit 6 Sage Stones to turn it into a ramp spell. Which I'm like,
Yeah, boy.
yeah, that's kind of cute. I don't really know if you need to be doing that. Like, you already have like Windstone Shot and stuff like that. That's instant
Yeah.
speed and like kind of doing the same thing anyway.
If
But
this thing was at speed, it'd
cute,
be crazy good,
cute.
but anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad it's not instant speed. Next up, we have Deep.
Um, oh, and the last thing about it, I
Sure.
think that the bottom line of text is basically just non-existent for the most part. I don't think destroying things of an exact cost across the board. If it was X or less, then sure, whatever.
Kill tokens.
Kill tokens.
Just banish 0 and wipe all the tokens off the board. I mean, that's pretty nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Next up we have Demon Beast of Hell Rider, or let's see, Hellfire.
Hellfire.
1 red, 1 black, Swiftness, Precision, Bane, 6/6. If ordered or revolutionized, that's the term we're using. I've coined that. If it's revolutionized, it gets an enter effect of your opponent banishes non-magic stone, non-J ruler entities, a non-magic stone, non-J ruler entity. Repeat this process till the combined total cost is equal to or greater to X, where X is the number of magic stones you control. So as the game goes on, this becomes potential board wipe on a body. That also has Swiftness and Precision and Bane. Like, this is pretty cool. I dig it a lot. This certainly feels like probably one that goes more along with the starter deck Gnarly that gets you a better pump the more magic stones you have, because this thing already naturally has Swiftness. So you play it with that, you're playing this like huge mana stone thing, and then suddenly he can come in and have this big pump and also clear out the board, and then he can kill whatever was left with his Swiftness and Precision. Overall, just like a very cool card.
Yeah, just like a mid-sized idiot. You need a couple of those in the set.
Mid-sized idiot. What a term. Yeah, like I don't really have much else to say than that. He's just a mid-sized idiot, and you need those.
Again, 3 words or less. I got you, Jeremy.
We got a lot of cards to get through. I'm counting on you.
I'll talk about large-sized idiots later. Anyway,
sounds great. Next up, we have Night Moon, 1 black. You may play this card without paying its cost if a moon you control was banished or destroyed this turn. And it just says enter your opponent discards a card.
Fine.
Sure. I don't really. It's a moon, I guess. Here we go. Moving on.
to be fair, can we just talk about the name? Because like Night Moon, like when else do you see the moon other than at night?
You can see the night. You can see the moon during the day.
Yeah, but
the night moon.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? It's fine.
It's the night orb. The night orb. D20 Dimension 20 reference for everybody. Don't talk about the night orb. Next up, we have probably one of my favorite cards in the whole set so far. This is good old Schmel, the Giant of Distress. I like that we're seeing like giants other than the original giants. Like new giants is cool to me. So 4 cost, 1 and 3 void, villain, 13/13, so a big old boy. Pays 3 less to play this card if a J ruler you controlled was destroyed this turn. When it is destroyed, J/resonators on both sides gain -10 until end of turn. And when you revolutionize it, your opponent discards 2 cards. This card is great.
I'm gonna put this in Brad because I'm gonna destroy my own Brad, and then I'm gonna play this for 1, and it's gonna do nothing because it's a 13/13. That's whatever.
But I mean, the neg 10's not. I mean, like neg 10 is nothing to shake its.
How am I destroying it? But also, you're right.
Tall idiots, huh? Says Charlie Steers. There we go. They made Ryan a promo. Finally, here we go.
Oh, God.
So the reason why I like this card so much is I think it gives us the biggest glimpse into what Loki's going to be doing as a ruler. It's going to be trying to destroy itself on its own turn to play something cheaper to then set up destroying it on your turn, where it's like if I get a chance to destroy it on your turn, great. If I get a chance to destroy it on my turn, I also get to benefit even further than it, which is very, very cool because of the fact that like Loki's whole order side, there's no stat pumps to it. It's just the ability to shoot ordered things. So now we can see kind of mechanically where that's going to provide the synergy for it. And that feels very different than any of the other order rulers, and I'm very much here for it. Instant speed, neg 10 is huge. Like, we've already talked about how in this past format with Wolfgang 2, one of like Wolfgang players were kind of shifting away from trying to one hit kill you with Terminus, and they were using Terminus as this instant speed stat neg, and that was having a big impact on the board. This is just that on a better body that's cheaper, like, and also makes you discard cards. So I like this card a lot.
You know what I'm gonna do with this card?
What are you gonna do with this card?
I can't do it because I realized that making something astral is not destroying it. Let's continue on.
Okay. I do want to say though that like the reason why I like this card so much is that like once it hits board, it feels terrible to kill. Right? Like your opponent's going to be like, "Well, that's a giant body, but I'm going to feel awful trying to kill it myself because it's going to apply this -10 for the end of the turn, right?" So, Frank, good question. How is this instant speed? The Resonator as it stands isn't instant speed, but Loki's order side lets you pay 0 and kill an ordered thing once per turn. So what you can do is during your opponent's turn, you just kill your own thing. That like with if this is ordered, you just like use Loki to kill itself, and then you can like suddenly have the -10 when you need it. Which is great, and I think that's pretty cool. So the Resonator himself doesn't have quick cast, although there's a way to give him quick cast later, which we'll talk about. But
that's a surprise we'll use for later.
Surprise we'll use later. But that's what I'm talking about.
How. So I also want to talk about how to understand the state of the game right now and the speed of the game right now.
Sure.
Remember when giants were 7 costs instead of 4 costs, and now the term giant refers to a 4-cost card?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are very different than what those other giants were doing.
Oh, yeah,
like, these are very, very different. The fact that like his only enter is when he's ordered, and he doesn't have any way to be able to discard from hand to like get his effect. The enter effect cheaper. Like, this feels like a different way. This feels like a different type of giant, which is fine for me. Why the cost is different, but yeah, Steven, we doing perfect Loki things. Yep. Very much. Like, let's just set up instant speed stat negs. Let's do it. On a giant body. Like, 13/13 is just huge. Smell is very good. Speaking of cool things, we have
Schmelvin.
Good old Schmelvin. Spirit of Magic, 2 red and 1. Quick cast 9/9. Resonance Fire Magic Stone. This card, he's a spirit. That's kind of relevant. Resonance Fire Magic Stone. This card gains +4/+4 and swiftness until end of turn. Pay 1 red and discard this card to give something +4/+4 and swiftness until the end of turn. Hi, Sprinting Flame Horse, welcome back. And if he's revolutionized,
remember Sprinting Flame Horse? This is him now. If you hold yet.
Although I will say that like this I'm fine with it because like the body itself can't give anything else swiftness. It's a more expensive bot. Like Sprinting Flame Horse, even if you just cast it, could give something else +2/+2 in swiftness.
Yeah.
This is like I have to discard it. And then if you revolutionize it, it ramps the stone into play tapped, which will then give itself swiftness. So again, this is another one where you're like,
oh, it doesn't put it in tapped actually.
Well, gosh, you're right. This one doesn't put it into play tapped. It's just a ramp one.
Oh.
That's a lot.
That's pretty hefty. I also like the fact that the artwork is literally just
this one's artwork is this artwork is a little bit I saw this and I was like, we've been knocking the artwork at this set out of the park. This one felt a little phoned in, but that's okay.
This feels like a 2005 Yu-Gi-Oh reject.
They can't.
No offense to you, Ryu-Emon. You've made some other good art in the past. This is just not one of them.
Yeah, they can't all be bangers. So yeah, but that's all I really have to say about Spirit Magic.
Oops, bangers.
He's pretty much just a different take on Sprinting Flame Horse that just has some utility as a castable Resonator as opposed to Sprinting Flame Horse. Tall, flexible idiot. Yep. Next up, we have Ramagra. 1 white, 1 red, 1 black. Quick cast. This card deals X100 damage to target player or J/Resonator. You gain X100 life, where X is randomly determined between 1 and 20. If the combined number of magic stones you control and magic stones in your graveyard is 10 or more, X is 20 instead. And then you can banish 2 magic stones rather than pay this card's cost. Or you can just have a dolly and make it 20.
That does work.
Let's play 4-color Gnarly. White, red, black, blue Gnarly in a format with no dual stones.
Why play Gnarly? Why not just play Featsing? That's the easiest 5 colors to do.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a cool card. I like this card a lot. Gnarly being able to make it cheaper is cool. 20 Firestone Gnarly is looking more and more like a deck, which I'm for. That's great. We've always joked about 20 Firestone decks before. Certainly
Listen,
feeling
man.
it now.
Listen, man, Red Grim from back in the day would having an
Dolly
nerve.
doesn't work? It's a choice. Charlie, it's a choice. You could choose, I mean, like, it's a choice. It's a random determination. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Charlie is in the chat. Please tell me why Dolly doesn't work with this.
Charlie is Judge Man.
I mean, I'm also, yeah, Charlie has judged a lot more than I have, so. But he'll come back to us. Overall, cool card. Don't really have much else to say about it. It's
All I
neat.
know is that Minha is going to play against me in tournament. He's going to roll like 320s in a row, and
Yeah,
I'm going to get knocked
This
out for 6,000.
This is a Minha card if I've ever seen one. So kudos.
Big time. He's going to play one of them in his deck of one-ofs, whether or not it's a singleton ruler.
Yeah, congrats to Minha for getting another card for his army of tricks. Speaking of tricks, we have Loki's strategy. It's not random. The number is randomly determined. Randomly determined is not the same as randomly chosen. You got me with the semantics, but you know what? I'll accept that ruling. There we go. Great. So we have Loki's strategy: 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black. Quick cast. Choose one. Put target resonator on the bottom or addition on the bottom of its owner's deck. Draw a card. Return. Recover up to 3 magic stones you control. If you're playing as Loki, you control. So here's the thing. This has been errata along with the other one, Double Bind. Specifically, it says J/Resonator with villains and J/Resonator with tails, not just Resonator. So keep that in mind for Double Bind and for this. It specifically does mean J/. If you control a J/Resonator with tails and a J/Resonator with villains, you can choose all 3 modes, and you can only pay 1 blue for it. Like, that's pretty huge. That's pretty huge. That's a lot of value. Cantrip, bounce, and recover, all for 1 blue. It's obviously a lot to set up, but I think that's kind of the point of Loki, is like once Loki gets a really nice setup, they feel very much in control. So overall, this is a very cool card. Very cool card.
I really have not much else to say about it. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just a cool card, and it rewards you for just kind of playing the way that Loki wants to play. So
yeah,
there you
exactly.
go. Congratulations, you played Loki. You made strategy happen.
Strategies. Now we have Federer, the goodest of the good, the goodest of the good boys. He back.
I love how boys spell BOI in the flavor text.
Jeremy,
where's the localization guy right now?
I love that it's boy BOI. Like,
who's in charge of localization?
Can we take a moment?
Can we talk about this?
Can we take a moment to talk about how just on point all of the flavor text has been for this set? Like, just so good. Like, across the board, it's been so
Who is
great.
in charge of this?
I don't know, but like, give them a raise, because man, honestly, it's so good. Okay, so 2 cost 6/8, villains quick cast. Enter J/Resonator your opponent controls, gain -1,000 attack until end of turn. We'll be doing those perfect Loki things. When this card is destroyed, you draw a card, and then when it's revolutionized, it gains +4/+4. And on enter, destroy target Resonator your opponent J/Resonator your opponent controls if its attack is 0 or less. And you can stack these so that you apply the attack neg and then you kill something. And keep in mind that it says destroy target if it's. So you can target whatever you want with his enter destroy effect. It just checks the attack of the thing at the resolution of the destroy effect to see whether or not it'll kill. So you can stack this so that you apply the whole stat neg to the -1,000 and then kill something. So
it's not like Separation of Body and Soul, where like if you cast it off of the Valentina, you had to like do something first, then separation that.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. It works as intended, as opposed to separation, which didn't.
It works just as Sakurai intended.
Got it. But no, I like this card a lot. I think it'll probably be a staple 4 of in most Loki decks. It's just a very cool card.
It's a very good boy.
Even just as a resonator, it's great, right? Like being able to say like I don't want to take damage for a turn, and then also probably trading into something and then getting the advantage if it does like trade into something to die. Like you just replace itself. Like it's very, very cool. The fact that all of the Loki resonators have like this, if they die, they get something on top of when they enter, they get something, again, really feeds into that idea that like Loki's probably going to be killing itself more than it's going to be killing you. Because you're only usually going to have one ordered thing on the field, whereas Loki's going to be like, kill an ordered thing, go to my turn, order, kill that ordered thing. Like Loki's going to be cycling through ordered resonators, I think, a lot more. So you're really going to get a lot of value out of it. Yeah. All according to Kikako.
Translated stuff. Kikako means plan.
Wind Knight of Ma'at, 3-cost, 8/9 knight. Enter, put up to 1 wind chant from your graveyard into your hand, and then if you revolutionize it, enter, recover up to 2 magic stones you control. Heh. Nothing really much to say. I mean, even as a 3-drop, I think it's okay.
The more I look at it, the better it kind of becomes. The one thing I will say is that Priscia is a wind chant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you can definitely just kind of like
that. Then you would recover up to 2 magic stones you control, and then could cast that Priscia again. Like he's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Great. There's just nothing like it's a card that you have to like think about how you're going to use him, as opposed to like this is how I'm going to do it.
There's not a lot of right now. I think this card would have been insane if it was printed like a year and a half ago, when players were doing decks that were like meant to just kind of like sit on a bunch of open wind will and just kind of look at their opponent.
Oh, sure.
Because you can just. Because like if this card goes into the late game, you just bring back number 13s at instant speed, and you just go,
for sure.
Just slam jam him.
He's a control recycler on a body, like, and I think that there are ways to use him outside of that for sure. But I think he's certainly a card that, in order to make the most use of him, you got to kind of be a little bit more creative.
I'm excited to play him in Cube.
Do I think this card's going to find its way into the cube?
Just an 8/9 quick cast body that
for 3
grabs the chant back.
Because he costs 3, he might have a home in the cube. We're probably not going to introduce the idea of doing revolutions into the cube, because it makes things really tricky with the ruler setup. But this is certainly a card that I think is probably cube worthy, because of like, even by itself, if you have like that one good tech wind chant, you're like, okay, that's great. But if you're like happen to get into the archetype of like you got past all the good wind stuff,
even this in like epic stories and like singleton formats, just recycling your strong wind chants.
Yeah, cool card.
Yeah.
Onward to more tricolor spells. We have Teaching of the Moon, 1 blue, 1 white, 1 green. Choose 1 as quick cast. Destroy all J/resonators that attacked this turn. Draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. Or put 2 Wind Moon Edition tokens into the field. And you can banish a moon rather than pay this card's cost. I'm really glad.
I really like how these cards are like. Well, you can tell which of each of the effects is to which color. Like Destroy all J/resonators is very much a light effect. Draw 2 cards is definitely a blue effect. And put 2 Wind Moon Edition tokens is Kaguya's kind of like her kind of like shtick this time around.
Yeah, color identity to this card is to all of these like tricolor spells. Color identity is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's just very cool. It's very, very flavorful, very neat. I was about to say the same thing happens with sort of the same thing happens with Loki's strategy. It feels like there isn't a lot of darkness in the card.
I'm really glad that this card doesn't have a way to pick all 3 modes. Because of the fact that how easy it's going to be for Kaguya to generate moons, as far as we can tell. But like banishing a moon for 3 like situationally good effects is like, okay, yeah, I see that. That's fine. Like this card seems fine. I don't think it's going to be a 4 of in Kaguya decks, but it might be like a 2 of.
I
You
could
know,
see it as a 4 of Incogni Dix just because it creates the moons on top of the fact
so it
that
goes
it
like a
just like
+1, like a +1
it's like
banish
it's
a
like a
moon.
+1 moon for if you already like drawing a bunch of cards, you just kind of go up on your moons and you're just like, all right, cool. Now I've got a bunch of moons. Play 3 Hanzos in a row and just be like, whoa,
That's fair.
like that.
That's fair. Don't forget that Hanzo has to be ordered in order to get that into effect.
It's fine.
Okay, you got it. Next up, we have Gungnir, the Magic Spear of Devotion. 1 white, 1 green, 1 black. Quick cast. Destroy target J/Resonator you control. Destroy all J/Resonators your opponent controls, and then remove all cards in your opponent's graveyard from the game. So kill him, and then get him out of there. And if you're playing as Faith, you can pay it for 1 green during your main phase.
Seems okay.
Yeah. Seems, I mean, like, even as a 3 cost, that's a pretty good board wipe.
Yeah, you don't really want to like there are certain times where you want to destroy your own stuff and
Yeah, that's the other thing that I've noticed if we're looking at that we haven't seen for Kaguya, which I'm actually really curious about, right? Kaguya has Feasting, which can unorder itself, right? But beyond that, we have seen nothing that lets Kaguya recycle her orders naturally, like internally, right? She has to rely on her opponent, as far as we can tell. She has to rely on her opponent killing her ordered thing to be able to order something else. Whereas Loki, Gnarly, and Odin can all do it themselves. At least one way, if not 2, if not more, right? I'm curious how that's going to have an impact, right? Because if there's ever a situation for Kaguya where like she needs to go from one order into the other, and your opponent's just like gets a read on that and just lets your first ordered thing live so that you can't get to it, like, does that just become a detriment to you? Do you have to suddenly deck build and like try to tech in cards to be able to get around that? Like, I'm curious to that influence, and the fact that we have now Odin having a spell that really kills its own thing, to be able to keep moving. Like, being able to recycle your orders effectively, I think, is certainly something that we see the other rulers doing better than Kaguya right now, and I'm curious how that impacts things. Why that D so bold? Super bold.
big D energy.
But what if that ordered thing is Hanzo? Does Kaguya really care? Considering how if Hanzo gets ordered early, it's real bad. Yeah, probably.
I also really like the fact that this card, like, is like from its design philosophy, like they want you to pay green for it if it's during your main phase and you have Faith, which is very odd. It feels very much like a darkness type effect.
Yeah,
to
that
destroy
does
your own
feel very
things, to remove
strange.
everything. It's kind of cool though, because it makes me think like they want you to put the green here. So what's the thing that they want you to destroy in darkness? And it's like, who knows? I don't.
I mean, I get, but like, Toby, you bring up an interesting point. Kaguya has the best ruler cards to kill off your ordered card. Just play Brad kill spells and stuff. Yeah, but like that feels really awkward with what we've seen of Kaguya so far, right? Like,
And you know what they say? If its spell says Brad, that means it's bad.
yeah. But like, and Yo-Yo Y, to your point, but if that ordered thing is Hanzo, does Kaguya really care? Or in a like, having a lot of will doesn't necessarily mean you're winning, right? Like, and so like, yeah,
Carlina.
sure, but even then, like, sometimes Carlina has all this extra will and she doesn't even know what to do with it because she's not doing anything with it, right? So just because you potentially have a lot of will with Hanzo doesn't mean you're like winning the game, especially if like you're playing against Odin and Odin's like, cool, well, your moons aren't moons anymore, and I've got the Mistletoe sword out, so you can't possibly throw all your moons at me to deal a grand of damage. Like, Kaguya doesn't seem to have much of a closer right now, at least from what we've seen from the spoilers. Correct me if I'm wrong, like, if you disagree, but like, Kaguya doesn't really feel like she closes out
Jeremy,
games.
you imply that I read cards?
Yeah, I'm applying that you read cards.
That's terrible for you.
I'm sorry. But like, Kaguya doesn't really like have much of a way to close things out. So like, I guess you have all that will. What are you gonna do with it? Like, I need to see what you're gonna do with it. I mean, if there's like a Pay 20 will kill your opponent spell. Sure. Okay, we've got it, right?
Called Ramagra.
Yeah, but having more counter spells is going to feel bad in this format when you have the fact that a lot of, like, counter spells are about to get super awkward considering we have 3 rulers that are going to say, cool, my resonators are going to just not care about your counter spells every single time, or I'm going to reanimate something for uncancelable every single time, every single turn. Like, cancels are bad in those scenarios, right? So, but depending on the influence of these new order rulers,
Jeremy, did you say cancels are bad?
they can be.
Force of Will?
They can be. Like,
what?
They're about to lose. Like, don't get me wrong. Against some of the older decks, cancels will still be good. But like, cancel's about to lose some oomph. Just in general, and like, there's relevance there, I think. So, yeah. Turning rested runes into pseudo cancels to generate double value is a lot. Sure. Yeah. I just and I could be proven wrong as more cards
the
come
value
out.
game in my Force of Will.
I'm just saying that as it stands right now, I don't know what Kagi is doing with all that extra will to make it worth having all that extra will. To like be that excited about all that extra will. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to the next card because we still got a lot to cover.
Here it is.
This is Odin's Intimidation.
Yeah.
1 white, 3 colorless.
Flavor text machine broken. Understandable.
No flavor text on this card. 1 white, 3 colorless. If a J ruler was put into the field under your control this turn, it only costs 1 white. Your opponent banishes X non-Magic Stone, non-J ruler entities, where X is the number of entities with villains you control. This feels very much like a win more card. It feels very much like
bad.
Yeah, it feels pretty. This is probably the worst card we've seen so far, in my opinion.
It was so bad they didn't even bother giving it flavor text.
Yeah, it just doesn't get flavor text. Not really much to say there, but you know what?
Actually, you know what? I think the translator was so intimidated by this card they just were too scared to write out any flavor text. They couldn't think of anything funny.
So much intimidate. Next up, we have the Arena expansion Relay. We're going to see 4 expansions here. So 1 white, 1 red, 1 black. Eternal. Enters, shuffle any number of Magic Stones from your graveyard and or your removed area back into your Magic Stone deck and draw a card. Treat Fire Magic Stones you control as Light Magic Stones and Darkness Magic Stones. Keep in mind that according to the current CR, this means that they can produce white or black.
Neat.
So your Fire Magic Stones basic Fire Magic Stones suddenly become Tri-Stones that are still basic.
If only this thing didn't cost 3 different colors.
If only this costed banishing a Magic Stone rather than pay its cost.
If you're Nyarlathotep.
If you're Nyarlathotep, which is clearly what it's made for, right? Like,
yes.
Again, I really like this because what it tells me is that 20 Fire Magic Stone Nyarlathotep is a deck that we can play and feel good about it. So I'm in.
Split heaven and earth, baby. Let's go.
Split. I mean, like, that card is legal.
It is.
I mean,
it's also on a bunny.
Like, we play some Split Heavens and just play Fire Magic Stones. Let's go.
Let's just play it in Wonder where you have 8 of them.
Yeah, let's do it. Cthulhu Intimidation, 3 red. I mean, there's not really much to say to that card other than
honestly, it's
wheel fixing for Gnarly is great. Smash cut to Kaguya casting Big Show 8 times before recovery. Sure. 3 red. You can pay 1 red less to play this card for each Fire Magic Stone that entered the field under your control this turn. So typically 2 will be its like easiest cost, if not more. This card deals 600 damage to each J/Resonator your opponent controls. If 2 or more are put into the field this turn under your control, damaged J/Resonators cannot block until end of turn, so it becomes an unblockable wall. If 3 or more, you cantrip. So if you can cast it for free, you burn the board for 6, you make damaged stuff not be able to block, and you cantrip.
I am going to put this into Wanderer Sylvia, and I'm going to Magic Stone research into Firestone, cast this for 1, make my opponent able to block, and swing at them for 1 billion damage with the Cthulhu Rizard combo. And that's where I'm at right now. That's where my head's at.
Okay. I dig it. Cool card. I don't really have much to say. Card. I like the cards that I'm most interested in for red are not the oh hey turn things sideways cards, and this is a oh hey turn things sideways card. So I'm like, yeah, right. Not really much to say about it other than that.
Just red card that deals damage. Draw a card. Red card. Draw a card. No. Wrong.
Next up, we have Skidbladnir.
Skidbladnir.
Skidbladnir. The magical sailing ship. We're
Boat.
going on a trip in our favorite sailing ship. It's quick cast, 1-drop blue. Enter. You may search your deck for a giant, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your deck. Thank you that this card is quick cast for a cantrip for giants. Whenever a J/ruler you control is destroyed, you may return this card to its owner's hand to go grab another giant that we're gonna cast for free because our J/ruler died this turn.
That's a secret tool we'll use for later.
That's a secret tool we'll use for later. Then you can tap target J/Resonator you control cannot be blocked until end of turn. Coming back to making stuff unblockable for blue. That's a throwback.
That's a major throwback.
That's a major throwback.
Also, we're getting a throwback. This is the second 1-cost blue edition that is a boat.
I like it. This card seems fine. This card seems great for Loki Giants deck. This card has implications in Wanderer.
I'm going to search so many Trow in my Carlina deck. You have no idea.
Yeah. I didn't hit my Trow. Okay, now I did. Great. We got there. Now I can cut down on the number of Trows that I'm playing and just play this.
No, this basically means you play 8 Trow.
I'm just playing 8 Trow. You're right. You're
playing 8 Trow.
I'm sorry. You're right.
You're dropping Trow every day.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's talk about it. More targets for Neo Ragnarok. Ooh. Yeah, that's true.
Right,
we got a lot more.
We're done talking about boat.
We're done talking about boat. So this is
Okay,
arena expansion Oot Guard. We have 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black. Whenever a J/ruler you control is destroyed, it becomes a 20/20 resonator until end of turn. It's still an addition. You can pay 1 blue to give it barrier, and if you're playing as Loki, you can play it for 1 blue total if a J/ruler you control was destroyed this turn. So essentially, the first turn you play it, it's not going to do anything. But then every other time one of your J/rulers dies, you also get this 20/20 beef stick of a body. That's crazy.
Jeremy, you want to know the saddest fact in the world?
No.
This is an addition, and it's a giant, which means that it can't be brought out with Neo Ragnarok.
Oh, because it's not a giant resonator?
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. I don't know what the implication of that is. Probably nothing.
Nothing.
But I'm still sad.
This card feels great. Again, this card feels like the repeatable stick to kind of motivate you to play what Loki wants you to be playing. I definitely think that there's going to be a Loki deck that's just like super heavy giants, as opposed to a Loki deck that's trying to like play more of the Tails villains shenanigans. Like those feels like they're going to be different decks to me. But this is cool. Like this is very thematic and in tune with what Loki's trying to do. So I like it.
I don't think the card's very good, but I appreciate the design space.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Great and Brad.
Yeah, man, sure.
Yeah. Hey man, that man generates a lot of will. He can play multicolor stuff.
Great and Brad also means not good. But anyway.
Okay. Next up, we have the Moon Edition that I'm not going to try to pronounce until I have the physical card in front of me, because I can't read it.
Anosuke no Miyako?
Okay, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 green. Moon Editions you control gain Eternal and Barrier. Good thing RFG gets around both of those. Force Resonance for Moon. If you control 3 or more moons, it only costs you 1 green, and it is a moon by itself.
It's
okay. Kagi has always had some kind of addition to protect her other additions, so... Yep. There you go.
It does the job.
It does what you need it to do. There you go. Destroy the resonator you ordered last turn, then play this, then order a new resonator. Yep. That's exactly right. Yo-yo-y. Next up, we have Kaguya's Moon Watching. 1 green. Recover X magic stones you control, where X is the number of moons you control, and players cannot chase with this card. This card's garbage. Moving on.
Wait, but the best part about this card, it looks like...
Oh, yeah, the artwork is hilarious. The artwork's hilarious.
A fat fucking dub, right?
Yeah, she's holding a flower, but she's got the look. This card is
eyes are
garbage.
Red,
this
card's trash.
This card is absolutely trash. Like, there's no reason for you to ever play this card. If you're like, but you can set up and recover your stones. See previous cards. Yeah, go ahead.
Wolfgang 2.0, this card is trash.
Like, If you're needing to play this card to recover your stones, and we're talking about Kaguya, the ruler that's probably going to have more will than anyone, you have done something wrong. Like, that you need to recover your stones. Like,
who hurt you?
Yeah, you've done something wrong. That you need to have this happen. It is a normal rare. It deserves to be in the normal slot. It is a terrible card.
Moving on.
This might be. I do think this card is worse than the Intimidate.
That's bold.
Because at least the Intimidate actually can serve as a 1-for-1 when you cast it.
At least Intimidate does something.
Yes, this does absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Imagine playing this over Hanzo. Like, you play this if you don't. You play this if you didn't pull 4 Hanzo for your Kaguya deck.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Next up, we have the final arena expansion, Asgard. 1 white, 1 green, 1 black. J ruler you control gains Drain, and if it has Force, Resonance, Faith, so if you're playing in a Odin, when this card is put into the graveyard from your deck, put it into the field. So if you're playing the Mill Odin, your first order, gonna get you that +3/+3 bonus to your thing that you've ordered, and give it Drain.
Oh, okay.
It's a 1-of.
I'm very excited to play this in Wander with Mikage Ray to just kind of toss it into play turn 1, and then just go off.
What? Play Odin in Wanderer so that you can pitch this.
Mikage Ray in Wanderer, so you can just.
But it won't come. It won't come to the field unless you're playing as Odin. At that point in time, you can play any 1-drop as Odin and get it on turn 1, and not Mikage Raya.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
I can't stop you from running Blazed Kaguya. By all means, please play it. By all means, please play that card.
I'll take that win in the next tournament.
Odin can also use Kaguya's arena expansion because white. I mean, I guess if he has that, if he has that many moons, sure. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we have the Light Mage of Ma'at. 1 white, 1 colorless, 6/6. You can pay 1 less to play this card if you control a J ruler. On enter, it deals damage equal to its attack to target J/Resonator, and if you revolutionize it, prevent all damage that would be dealt by target chant spell until end of turn. The revolutionize effect makes absolutely no sense until you see the Loki card that we're about to talk about. Overall, this card's a little bit better than the green one, I think.
It is okay.
But it's just, it is okay. All of the mages, for the most part, I think, except for the blue one, are like, okay. Nothing.
I want to put this in. I do want to put this into Reflect in Wonder, so you can flip over your Reflect, have a 1-cost 6/6 that deals 600 damage to something. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, there you go. Next up, we have Explosive Withdrawal. This one was spoiled a bit ago by France, but I think that was an accident.
Oui.
One red, 1 colorless, quick cast. Destroy target Jade ruler you control. Deals damage equal to the attack of the chosen Jade ruler to target player or Jade Resonator. And you can banish a magic stone rather than pay this card's cost. Card's great. Card's
okay.
Card is a way for Nyarlathotep to reload while also generating value off of it. Cool.
I like that the explosions in the background kind of look like cauliflower.
Cool. Nyarlies don't look at explosions. They blow things up and they walk away.
What's the biggest J ruler we can hit our opponent with? I want to slap somebody.
The dragon? The Ordered Dragon?
Ordered Dragon's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah. Brad.
More like bad.
Oh,
anyway.
Tisiphone? Order a Tisiphone?
Oh my god. Just order a Baja. Who cares?
There you go. Yeah, we didn't kill you with Baja, but we kill you with this. Next up, we have Barbados, the Aspiring Ascendant. 2 red, 10/4. 10/4, good buddy. Resonance Fire Magic Stone. You may rest target J/Resonator. 1 red. This card deals 200 damage to your opponent, and if he's revolutionized, he ramps a stone into play tapped. Oh no, into the field, straight into the field, not tapped. At the next end of turn, put it on the bottom of its owner's deck. Whenever damage is dealt to your opponent, target J/Resonator you control gains swiftness. I like this. I think this card's great. This card is once again a one that probably goes better with the it probably goes better with the Gnarly that wants to be pumped up based on the number of stones you control, because of the fact that he ramps a stone into play that's recoverable. So then he ramps a stone into play. You can use that to ping your opponent for 2. Suddenly, you also get to tap something down. And suddenly, he gets to be able to attack. And then you can kind of swing in from there. And it also helps to keep his defense up because he's a little tiny defenseless boy.
Jeremy, he's a 2-cost
Mike,
human.
he is a 2-cost human.
I'm going to put him to play
Brunhilde.
with I Need Our Summon.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. There you go, buddy. Ooh,
I can do it.
Make your Celesta huge and then kill your opponent with Celesta. With
that's memes.
I mean, I don't hate it.
If the swiftness swing doesn't kill your opponent, that explosion sure will.
I don't hate it. Like, I think that, and she won't die because she is eternal.
Destroy target too, or
yeah, it's not as cost. It's just destroy. So you could just Okay. Next up, we have Loki's Curse. 1-drop white, rest target J/Resonator, and if you're playing as Loki at the beginning of your turn, put this card from your graveyard into your hand. So a repeatable little tap spell. Nothing to shake a stick yet. Kind of meh. But this repeatableness this repeatableness is totally fine. My only thought is I have to go back and look at it. Let me go back and look at it real quick. It's an older card. See, the thing is, this card would have been great if Loki's Deception made us discard instead of going from remove from game to make its cost cheaper.
Yeah, it really feels
this card would have
very out of place.
This card would have felt great with Loki's Deception, right? If Loki's Deception made us discard cards, because you're like, aha, discard them and then bring them back, so you can kind of make use of it. Overall, this card seems kind of meh. It's nothing.
It's not the better of the two cards with Loki.
Yeah. I've lost Mike. He's gone forever. He'll be back. He's back. Yeah, it's the worst of the two cards that Loki in this kind of pose. Next up, we have Loki enters the Game of the Gods. 1 blue quick cast. Target J/Resonator gains -2,000 attack until end of turn. Draw a card, or produce 1 Will of any attribute and draw a card. And Resonators in your hand gain quick cast until end of turn if you are playing as Loki. This is a 4 of in every Loki deck.
This is a 4 of in a lot of decks.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. This card is nutty.
This card is very good. When we're entering a format without dual stones, this card is very, very good. There are a lot of Resonators that get pretty nutty when you can give them quick casts, and then you top that on top of the fact that suddenly we have orderable Resonators that you're getting quick cast for. Like, Loki is going to be a complicated deck to pilot and a very complicated deck to build, but I think when Loki finds the right combination and figures out the tempo out, watch out, because I think Loki decks are really going to put some squeeze on some people. I'm very excited.
This card's also just insane in the Fieth Mage decks. It's just free mana for Lycion.
Yeah, I guess.
It's kind of nutty. I'm not gonna lie. This thing's gross.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
It's a cheaper Melfi.
See, the thing is, but
Jeremy, it's a cheaper Melfi.
But no, it's not. Melfi. It's not though, because you're already paying to I think it's fine. I don't think this is a card that Fieth Mage is gonna suddenly want to try to find room for. I think that Fieth Mage is already doing enough of this kind of thing without needing to try to find room for this card.
I mean, probably, but also at the same time,
anything with blue base, yeah, probably it's a 4 of for sure.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Kotaro, the Ninja of Silence. 2-drop 6/6 quick cast Tails. This card gains +2/+2 for each moon you control. Revolutionized, you can destroy all additions your opponent controls, or target player cannot play Chance until end of turn. Yeah, Charlie backing me up. It's not great for Lycion. You don't know what you're talking about, Mike Rand.
We'll see what people do. I know some creative people. Brandon Fremont. Anyway.
So Kotaro seems fine. This card's pretty cool, even just by itself. 2-cost quick cast. Kotaro coming back here just kind of gets better as the game goes on. This certainly feels like the mid-range beater that at least Kaguya can now suddenly threaten some damage with. The fact that it destroys all your additions is a little bit weird. It's like the anti-Kaguya card, which is weird. And the silence is okay. I give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, card's fine.
Yeah, 7 out of 10.
The target player can't play chance until end of turn when you revolutionize him is like okay.
Yeah, because it also targets. So like Odin has a free give myself barrier spell. It certainly does feel like, as we see more and more of the spoilers, that Odin is going to just be the hard counter to Kaguya. Just be like, no moons, no activate abilities. Stop it. You can't play spells. You can't play resonators. My stuff keeps coming back. Here's a big body. Like, you can't cancel.
No.
It does. It certainly seems like that's what Brunhild, like that's what Odin's game plan is going to be. And I'm here for it. Like, I'm fine with a deck that's like heavy control like Kaguya existing, especially when it has something that's so clearly a hard counter to it. So that's fine with me. Next up we have Gale of the Moon, 2 blue or 2 green, cancel target spell, put a wind moon token addition into the field. Okay. 2-drop cool. 2-drop cancel, but see previous conversation about how cancels are gonna be weird this next
also
format,
see previous cards not being good enough as 2-cost cancels until they're free and or 1 mana.
Yeah, like number 13 is good, don't get me wrong, but it was not nearly as scary as we thought it was going to be, and really only gets there once you hit 4 stones.
Or you're playing crazy-ass Wanderer decks.
Yeah. In Wanderer, of course. But, like, it's Wanderer, so...
I'm going to put Pandora into the field. For cancel.
But even that deck, I mean, that deck can be beaten. Like, that's fine.
Of course it can.
So it's like, of course
every deck can be beaten.
Yeah, consistently, by something else.
Correct.
Next up, we have Hegel, the Giant of the Dark Sun. I love this card. 3 cost...
Do we miss... Rain Grid, Fairy of Trickery, and
I spoiled those on my video.
Disaster.
I did the video. I did the video
cool.
covering those. So if you want to talk about those cards, you go watch my video. Those were our exclusive. Okay. Those were the exclusive Ruler School spoilers.
Just want to make sure I saw them in order on the spoilers.
Yeah, you're good.
Channel.
Hegel, the Giant of the Dark Sun, 2 white and 1, 10/10 villain drain giant. With Revolutionize, choose Resonator or Chant. Your opponent cannot play cards of the chosen type as long as this card is in the field. This card terrifies me with Brunhild being ordered and an unchaseable reanimate spell. Like, that I get to keep casting every turn. Like, we are going to have a lockout deck where if Brunhild can get 2 of these on the field, you just can't play cards. Like, additions are great. Enjoy your additions. Enjoy your regalia. I'm going to beat you over the head now with 2 10/10s. I just like that we have that idea back in Force Will. I'm good with it.
We've got more tall idiots.
What happens if Hegel gets his revolution off of Brunhild, then Brunhild leaves? You will be able to cast cards again.
Yep.
Because he will no longer have that text on him as a card. We've solved the problem. Great question, though, Yo-Yo. And then our last card for the night. We did it, Mike. We made it through all the cards.
I can't believe we did it.
Choir of the Valkyries, 2 white. Put 2 4/4 light soldier resonator tokens into the field. But if you're playing as Odin, put X into the field instead, where X is the highest total cost among entities you control. And keep in mind, 1, we got big old sword that only costs 1. And 2, we got all these abilities that Odin's apparently going to have that pump up the cost of things when counting total cost. This is potentially a lot of tokens.
It is.
It's a lot.
Is it good enough to see play? Probably not.
Maybe. We'll see.
Who knows? I'm just going to put it in Belial, and I'm just going to make 6/6 Bane Drain. Sorry. I'm going to flip him, and then we're going to have 8/8 Bane Drain tokens just coming right off of him. That's going to be nice.
Where X is going to give it to you. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that very much.
Choir of the Valkyries is, in fact, going to deliver to you.
I'm gonna deliver to you. I mean, it's fine. It definitely feels like it plays into the Odin go wide strat.
Just like a little bit of knock-knock, open up at the door.
It's here! Yeah, so that brings us to the end of our spoilers. It catches us up. Pre-release was supposed to be this coming weekend.
It's not.
It's not because of the product delays, which in all honesty is fine. It's a minimal delay at best. But that probably means that we'll have the full set this week. If they stick to the same schedule, like because it's usually released just before pre-release week. That being said, if it is next week's lounge office hours, we'll be going over the rest of the set. We will be planning on doing that because it will make the most sense. And maybe I'll get to show off some stuff if it arrives in time. That might be cool. I might be able to show off a few things for you guys. If I get permission, we'll see. Overall, like I kind of as we close things out, Mike, what are your thoughts on this set, like as an experience?
I'm liking the idea of the set so far. I think it's very much self-contained, and I feel like we're going to see it be self-contained within the cluster itself. I'm a big fan of cards that kind of harken back to older stuff because I am an Eternal Formats player.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are getting support for older mechanics that we hadn't seen previously. A lot of resonance just kind of existing again. So there's a lot of good takeaway and a lot of okay takeaway. You know, I think a lot of like these cards with Revolution on them are going to be like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll play them with Revolution type cards. It's fine. We'll make the orders happen. But at the same time, we've also got stuff like, okay, cool. I can think about where to put this. Like, Garmheld, you know, is going into Loki. Like, half of these cards, you know, are going into their decks. It's like, okay, cool. It's
but
like
even like
putting Regalia in there.
But even like Federer, even non-revolutionized,
I know.
even the goodest of boys, like that's a card I would play outside of an order ruler.
Yeah.
Like that's a good body.
I fully agree.
Or the fairy, that we spoiled on our exclusive video, like that becomes a 1-cost if you're playing a J ruler. Like that's a good card. Like, and it doesn't have any order.
I'm gonna try and play that in Reflect. I played the what is it, the Ocean King from the Val structure deck in Reflect because it was a 2-cost tap a thing, and now this one's just 1 mana tap a thing.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of really cool stuff. I think there's enough stuff here that I see where it's coming from for contained, right? Self-contained. There's enough stuff here that it feels like it kind of scratches 3 good itches, like that are all good. It's self-contained, meaning that I'm motivated to play these cards for the new rulers to really make the most of them, and like feels like these cards need to play with the new rulers, so I'm motivated to play them. Feels like there's a good enough New Frontiers splashability pile where I can take these cards and I'm motivated to try to experiment with them in other current New Frontiers decks that aren't Saga or Dual Cluster, like that. And then it also has some really nice cards that I'm really, really tempted to try to find a way to make them work in Wanderer. Like it has me interested in all 3 kind of like lenses, and I think it's really well designed for that. And so that's really cool to see that kind of, because we talked about this before with Saga Cluster. We talked about how Saga 3 didn't really quite feel that way, but like Saga 4 and Rebirth of Legend kind of had a similar kind of vibe to them in terms of like, makes me want to play new stuff, makes me want to find splashability in other current stuff, makes me want to go back and explore. And so we were curious about Dual Cluster, of whether it was going to continue that trend. And I think we can say that that's the case, that they've really hit that stride in terms of set design. And great, let's keep it up. Let's keep it moving. So cool stuff. David Hansen, may the birthday luck be in your favor for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. Trying to see if there's anything in the chat here that's kind of pointing out. Full set release this week would be great. Yep. Coming out the day before birthday. And then we're waiting to hear on what next season. Has there been any other like major announcements that have come out? We know the announcement about next Worlds carrying over.
Yep.
And so now next Worlds is going to be 3 Worlds worth of invites. So that's huge.
It's going to be intense.
That's going to be very intense. I know I've already been invited to stream it, so that's great.
I've got my invite from last
2 seasons
now.
again. 2 seasons ago. That's the other thing that's really interesting to me is like this set has me like is so interestingly designed that it genuinely has me interested in trying out this New Frontiers format, where in past years, set one has always, from a non-worlds perspective, set one has always felt like, yeah, okay. Like, we'll just wait till set two, because that's when the competitive season's going to start. Like, you don't really take set one seriously, because
Right.
it's not going to have any competitive viability. So like people don't get silly with it. But like this stuff feels genuinely interesting to goof around with and play around with and experiment with in a way that we haven't seen from clusters in recent years. So I bring on the off season. Bring on the off season. I'm down for it.
I'm into it.
So
The only way you're going to get good enough for the on season is if you get good during the off season.
it's true. And there's ways to do that. We got the OLS, which is transitioning to doing webcam events. Shout out to Cal.
Mm-hmm. Big shout outs to Cal.
Working that up and getting it to be webcam events. So they're going to have, I think, at least once a month, right? Webcam monthly tournaments. We know that Wanderer webcam tournaments are going to be happening. Cash Wanderer webcam tournaments. With games.
If you want to get really good at Force of Will, you play in Wanderer.
Yeah, that's like the gauntlet right now, because Wanderer is very explosive, but there is a lot of options, and there's
a lot of counterplay.
Very skill intensive, very meta knowledge based, and you can certainly learn a lot from playing in there. It really heightens your skill playing in Wanderer right now. It is a little bit it is a little bit New Frontiers plus ish, but there's enough there that it doesn't have.
It happens when power creep happens, but at the same time, it's like.
But there are stuff. There's older stuff that's coming back and seeing play. Like it's not purely just New Frontiers plus. And the more people experiment with it, I think the more you'll see that. Frank,
like you have to think about the fact that like all of the New Valhalla stuff, the runes combined with the New Frontiers available cards is disgusting. I'm just gonna flat out say that.
Yeah,
like it's gross. It's so strong,
but it's also not unbeatable,
right? Because it's just like obviously you have a lot of power from the New Frontiers stuff. You have a lot of power from just like good old fashioned staples.
Yeah.
They got fair spells, so you can't even play the most broken cards without having to worry about 1-mana cancels.
Frank Fiore, it's hard for me to get into a rotating format. I like my cards being playable at all times and less being banned. Wanderer, that's your format there. Casually Wanderer is certainly your place there. That's the other thing too. We talked about this before in the TCG Discord to kind of wrap us up. It now in this era of Force of Will set design, jank decks function so much smoother and so much more fun than they ever have before. So if you just want to play casual Wanderer and make jank and have fun with your friends, like
can't confirm.
Like you're gonna be able to do really fun stuff in Wanderer.
I'm gonna give everybody in this chat a gift right now.
Okay, here we go.
The gift is playing Kaguya 4.0, Tears of the Moon.
Okay.
You have Abel, who is a 1-cost Eternal Resonator, which means that you always have a viable target to put your kimonos on.
I was about to say, are we playing kimonos on Abel?
And okay, so here's the problem with it. Here's the problem with the Abel part.
Gradius?
You have to play a lot of white in order to do that.
And Gradius exists.
Yeah. Do you want to know how you solve that? Snake comes out next set, and that thing's a 1-cost with Eternal. And also you can turn it off to turn it into a stun card, plus your cancels, which are also stun cards, plus the mana that you get off of the kimonos, off of the Kaguya. So everything comes together.
Yeah. Charlie wants to return this.
There's no returning the gift now.
There's no returning the gift now. It's back in the box. Yeah. The game right now is so much fun. So and like this set has me super excited. I might, now that I have cards put away, once this set officially drops, I'm probably just going to permanently keep Hungry Box sleeved and with me at all times.
The names.
I mean, that it has. You got me, man. Like I'll give credence to it. That deck is so much fun. I love it so much. And like the reason why I say like once this new set drops is so that I don't have to play Carlina Belial in New Frontiers anymore, because I'll have new rulers to make content with. So that's a thing that I'm
Oh, what are we
excited.
gonna do with all the mana that Hanzo makes? Door of Time. Let's go.
Door.
Door of Time. I could have said Alice's World, but no, man. I'm just saying Door of Time.
What's Door
You
of
think I'm
Time,
not
people?
gonna try and find some way to make that garbage happen?
That makes a lot of sense, buddy. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be just fine. That brings us
Am
to
I?
the end. You're gonna be okay. That brings us to the end of our time for tonight. Thank you all so much for getting caught up with us for the spoilers. This has been wonderful to seeing the chat so active and being able to chat with you, Mike, about all these cool cards. Like I said, full set should be out this week, and hopefully we get to put that up next week. Keep in mind, by the end of this month, we will probably have our How to Start Playing in 2022 video. The sequel to our How to Start Playing in 2021. So when that comes out, you all have a mission. You got to share that video around so that we make sure to get as much of a craze going on for that, because that video.
Trow's gonna buy a yacht. Thank you.
Trow's about to get a brand new boat. So yeah, be sure to share that video out once it goes live, because that is a really good way to help spread the word about the game. It's been really successful for the 2021 video. It's our most popular video of this entire year, so looking forward to doing. It still gets a ton of views every single week, so we're looking forward to doing that again. There will be no feature match this week because we're getting back from vacation and getting everything recorded, but I will say that we are going to have a Wanderer feature match soon between El Dorado Lumia Flicker and Zalus Palace. So I'm very excited to be able to put that that match up on. Huge shout out to Paul and Josh, the Bardiest Bard, for getting that recording together for us. But we'll be back soon with that. And love you all so much. And until next time, this has been DMO73, and I've been joined as always by Mike Rance saying, class.
Remember, everyone, make some spicy Wanderer brews and send them to me so I can make fun of them.
Class is dismissed.